About that time to hit that 5K, you feel me? But let's get it.
The Cat in the Hat is often remembered as one of the most bizarre releases of the early 2000s.
Live-action version of The Cat in the Hat just wasn't a great idea.
This isn't Dr. Seuss. It's not even
pretty terrifying.
But the adaptation of Dr. Seuss's classic story wasn't just a nightmare for audiences. Cat in the Hat was a horror show both on and off screen, and at the center of the chaos was the actor who basically got blackmailed into putting on the infamous costume. In the year 2000, Universal Studios released the first live-action Dr. Seuss adaptation with How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Iconic, bruh. Iconic ass movie, bruh. If you know, you know. If you don't know what How the Grinch Stole Christmas is, my nigga, click off the video right now, bro. I'ma wait. You clicked off? Click off, bro. Click off. How you don't know what How the Grinch Stole? How you don't know that? But nah, though, this movie, bro. This movie so iconic, bro. It come on every year for Christmas. If you know, you know, my nigga. This, bro. Come on, man.
It was a hit. While the film wasn't exactly popular with critics, they managed to gross almost $350 million at the box office, and it quickly became cemented as a Christmas classic. So naturally, the company was eager to adapt more of Seuss's work, and The Cat in the Hat was an easy pick. The casting process was set into motion. The cat was initially supposed to be played by Tim Allen. He was interested in the role and even did some early stage preparation, but due to conflicting schedules with two other projects at the time, he ultimately dropped out. That's when the name Mike Myers came up, but the studio was reluctant. Myers should have been a great pick. He was known for his background in playing roles with larger-than-life cartoonish characteristics.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, Michael, he plays some iconic roles, gang. His acting catalog needs to be studied, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to Michael Myers, bro. Like, that's a dope ass name though too.
Capturing the whimsy of a Dr. Seuss book, and should have been a strong follow-up to Jim Carrey's iconic performance in The Grinch. But Mike was, to say the least, creatively conflicted at the time. In the late 90s, he had been working on a movie based on his popular Saturday Night Live character, Dieter.
Welcome to Sprocket. I'm your host, Dieter.
There was a deal with Universal, and they had already dumped millions of dollars into funding it when Myers decided to back out. He thought it was going to be unfilmable, claiming he could not in good conscience accept $20 million and cheat moviegoers who pay their hard-earned money for my work by making a movie with an unacceptable script. As a result, Universal sued Myers for breach of contract, and in response, he countersued the company. Eventually, they reached a settlement, and as part of Myers' agreement, he was contractually obligated to do another movie for Universal and make up for that loss. That's when he was cast as the titular character of Cat in the Hat, which would end up being a huge mistake. He clearly did not want to be there. Maybe it was a lack of interest in the role, or maybe he just wanted to spite the company. Whatever the case was, Myers would go on to
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I could just imagine the preparation of just wearing that costume, bro. Man, I know, bro. Then I knew they was filming during like probably the summer. It probably was hot as hell, bro. Man, shout out to all the actors. I ain't gonna lie, in the future, that's something I won't get into. Acting and stuff like that. I know it's a lot of sacrifices they make, though. I ain't gonna lie, it's certain roles, y'all. I don't know. I can't be in certain movies. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's some movies they be having you turn into Transformers. You know what I'm saying? Niggas playing zesty roles. That's not me. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I just can't do it. But like anything like other than that, for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Cat in the Hat, I'll be Cat in the Hat. That's tough. I'm willing to go through them long hours. That is tough though, cause he the main character, so I could just imagine what he had to deal with, bro.
That miserable for everyone. Actress Amy Hill, who played Mrs. Kwan, described him as a diva, stating in an interview that he would rarely talk to any of the cast and crew, basically pretending they didn't exist. If he needed something communicated, he had information relayed through his assistants. She mentioned that he had someone on standby whose job was to just hold a Tupperware of chocolate and deliver them to him whenever he wanted one. He gave his chocolate guy more attention than some of his co-stars. It was just a horrible horrible, nightmarish experience. I don't think he got to know anybody. He'd just be with his people and walk away.
He one of those? Come on, gang. It had to be deeper than that, bro. For him to just not engage with the cast, like, for one, you gotta build chemistry with your cast members, bro. Like, what's good? Michael Myers, what's good, gang? You gotta talk to your castmates. The ego through the roof, huh? Like, damn.
Reportedly show up late to set and take ages to get into costume and makeup, forcing everyone to wait for hours and delaying the schedule. When he finally did get to set, the actor micromanaged the entire production. They'd do a take, Mike would go look it over, talk to the director, and then do another take, over and over again. He wasn't communicating with the cast, so they never really knew what he was saying. All they did know was that director Bo Welch gave Myers very little pushback on this behavior, allowing him to constantly challenge the writers. Unfortunately, this was his first time directing a movie, so he was understandably intimidated by someone with Mike Myers' status. And when Myers demanded line changes and refused to shoot scenes, Welch felt he had to sit back and let it happen. It was his way or no way.
No, Mike, chill, gang. Like, and then you putting the, bro, he knew the directing. This is his first big budget film. Like, bro, I hate when actors like put like directors under that type pressure, bro, because directing a movie is not easy at all, my nigga. It's so much that go into it, bro. Like, so many changes, script changes, what else? You know what I'm saying? Just the process alone, bro. Like, it's so much that go into it. So it's so, like, imagine having a stubborn ass actor, you know what I'm saying, who just feel like if it ain't their way, then it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that's so hard to work in those type conditions, but I mean, the movie wound up being pretty decent to me. You know what I'm saying? As far as I can remember, I ain't watched that movie in years, but it came out pretty well. But like, I just know like the process, bro. I know they was sick on set.
To be playing a beloved character from one of the most iconic picture books of all time, but the off-screen tension made it hard for his co-stars to see him that way. The movie's confusing tone stemmed largely from Myers. Originally, it had a more kid-friendly script, but Mike felt he needed to insert crude adult jokes, innuendos, and awkward one-liners that he thought better suited his comedy style.
Dirty.
Bro, I didn't realize how dark this movie was. So he responsible for all the changes, bro. He responsible for the script change because they were supposed to just take the kid route, you know, the kiddie route, you feel me? But he done changed up the script. That's why it was so out, like, bro, it had so many adult jokes, like, looking back on, like, you know, it was stuff we didn't really understand because we was young as hell, but, bro, this nigga just got a boner through his hat? Like, how is that possible, my nigga?
Felt he needed to insert crude adult jokes, innuendos, and awkward one-liners that he thought better suited his comedy style.
Dirty hoe. Son of a bitch!
He was used to the loose, improv-heavy environment of something like Austin Powers, where nearly 40% of the dialogue was improvised, though it should have been easy to see that this wouldn't translate well into a colorful, family-friendly Dr. Seuss movie. He turned the film into something unrecognizable from its original script, although he wasn't the only one to blame for the complicated environment. While this was Bo Welch's directorial debut, he was an experienced production designer, having worked on movies like Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, which undeniably showed in the set design for Cat in the Hat. Rather than filming in an actual town or a traditional studio, they constructed an entire artificial neighborhood. Every aspect of it, from plants to roads to houses, was painted in an oversaturated style to achieve the cartoon.
I line the set beautiful though, like how I wound up coming out, but like, bro, look at, bro, they had to build a whole set for this shit, gang. Like, bro, move it, bro. The process of making a movie, bro, is so much that go into it, bro. That's why I respect all directors, all actors, anybody in the production, like, team, you know what I'm saying, the PAs. Bro, man, it's a lot.
the real vibe they were aiming for.
I think we shot one day on one set where there was something real. That was the grass. Otherwise, everything else was manufactured. On the stages we went, everywhere we went, even the trees were fake. So when design is everywhere in a movie, it does set a very special tone for you.
But this came with a lot of problems, maintenance being a huge one. As if the cost of building a neighborhood wasn't deep enough, any damage or weathering to the set required fixing and repainting, which not only cost more but further delayed production. The bright, unnatural colors demanded meticulous lighting to avoid glare. On top of that, the interior sets, like the house, were made to look warped and cartoonish, but they were extremely tight, leaving little room for the crew. Bright studio lights and small spaces made it a hot, claustrophobic environment. Everyone suffered, but Mike, being in a full bodysuit and face prosthetics, got irritated frequently and would have to go reset his costume during takes.
Being a good sport. What's that? You're being a good sport. Seems hard.
There were quite a few scenes that didn't make the final cut, and it was probably for the better. One of them featured Thing 1 and Thing 2 trying to delay the mom's arrival, and to do so, they chug a mountain of water bottles. When she gets to the neighborhood, Thing 1 floods the streets with piss.
Yo!
Flood? There's not a cloud in the sky.
Through all the challenges behind the scenes,
So that was supposed to represent, this was a freaky ass movie, bro. Looking back on it, I didn't realize how freaky it was, bro. That's tough. Bro, they turned this movie into an adult film. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Universal still had enough confidence in the film's success to greenlight a video game alongside its release, and even planned on making a sequel. However, the movie hit theaters on November 21st, 2003, and it was immediately met with scathing reviews from critics and audiences alike.
There's one thing I've learned from these two movies is that we don't want to see Jim Carrey as a Grinch, and we don't want to see Mike Myers as a cat.
It's hard to say who is less recognizable in The Cat in the Hat, Mike Myers or the actual Cat in the Hat. Let's hope this insult of a movie doesn't taint any child's ability to enjoy the original. Crude humor full of pop culture references. This not only yanks us out of the dreamlike on-screen world, but it makes the film painful to watch. But no one hated it more than Dr. Seuss's widow, Audrey Geisel. So much so that she went on to ban any future live-action Dr. Seuss adaptation on behalf of the Seuss estate. That's why there have only been animated adaptations since.
Damn, so Mike Myers really ruined, bro. That's tough. And still to this day, I see they just aired a new trailer for a new Cat in the Hat movie or whatever the case is, and that's animated. So Mike Myers then ruined. Well, I guess I could say Jim Carrey too. Bro, that's crazy. He ruined live action Dr. Seuss films. They might not ever have another live action. That's tough. Damn. I didn't know it was that serious though, like during the time. But like I could kind of see, like, you know what I'm saying, young kids, like it is kind of adult based, you know what I'm saying, for a kid movie, like the jokes and stuff, but that's tough, gang.
Put all the blame for its failure on one person. One of the biggest criticisms for the film was its inconsistent tone with too many adult jokes, and that was largely due to Mike Myers. Critics found his portrayal of the cat to be creepy and obnoxious as well, but its issues went much deeper than that. The unfocused direction, hyperactive pacing, and annoying slapstick humor all played a role in the movie's demise. While some thought the sets were impressive, others found them to be oversaturated eyesores. It was really just hard to determine who the film was for. Parents were upset and uncomfortable, kids were confused, and critics were repulsed. Mike Myers' career took a bit of a hit afterwards. He still voice acted for the Shrek franchise in the following years, but his next major live-action appearance was The Love Guru in 2008, which was even more of a commercial and critical flop. His reputation in Hollywood was soured, being known as difficult to work with. He's since chosen to take a step back back from acting. Aside from a few scattered roles here and there, he largely vanished from the public eye. Regardless, Mike Myers is still viewed as a comedy legend, which is a status that will never change. Many of those involved did go on to have lasting careers, but for everyone, the film was an all-time low. Maybe The Cat in the Hat was a good movie that got lost along the way, or maybe this story was never meant to be adapted in live action to begin with.
Damn, bro. That's crazy, bro. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts, bro. Honestly, gang, bro, for a kid film, it probably was over the top, but like looking back on it, it was funny to me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know in the comments. I didn't realize how freaky it really was though, cause like during the time I didn't understand the jokes that he was making. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, this shit came out in 2003. I probably ain't see this movie realistically until like 2010 for real. So I still ain't even know what the hell was going on. You know what I'm saying? But that's crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments, bro. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Join the family. Roll to 5K. You feel me? Subscribe to my second channel, fsdeelive. FSD out, man.